So I'm doing a quick little test. Click. I just started a new world and literally just saw this. I want to figure out what's going on over here. This test world has my Alpha 3 compatibility. It also has Reasonable Realism, and that includes, among other things, sand falls. And so we're seeing sand falling, and it looks like the sand falling is destroying the ocean. So I want to see what happens. Does it become stable? Fog nerf is now installed, so we should be able to see through the water. I have updated my flowing water distance to 10. It was at 4, which was simply not enough. So the first thing I'm noticing is that there's a swallowing up of water around sand. So it looks like when sand falls, the displacement is not, it's not displacing the water up when sand falls down. At Futurum, I have a large number of core mods installed to try to test for a reasonable compatibility with things, including at Futurum. Sugarcane. I thought sugarcane was not destroyed by water. Right. It no longer has water next to it. Water has fallen that far down, which is good. That's working the way it should be. All right. So let's take a look at some of these other water depressions. All of this falling sand is destroying water, but it stabilizes. Ooh. Okay, there's no apparent problem from those guys. That's nice. I didn't even think of that. Harder ores is happily generating. Oh, look. This used to be the water line. That's a cute little unexpected. Now, fog nerf gets rid of the fog effect underwater, but it doesn't actually give you clear water. Oop, oh, things were falling on me. For that, I would need inventory, potion, regular night vision. There we go. And notice that I don't need... Ooh, look at all of this. Huge amount of stuff, just gravel. Right. Okay, so all of these blocks that I'm looking at here fell as items, not as blocks. So this may be why the displacement did not put down fresh water, because everything that fell as an item did not fall as a block and would not displace water. And there's a lot of this. So yeah, it's possible that all of what we're seeing here, stack and a half, and I'm not even trying, that might just be, look at the water rings. That might just be why the water level dropped so much, because of all of this water that was not replaced by falling blocks. Ooh, oh, just drawing, just rendering. Let's let the rendering catch up. Let's see, is there a much higher level of... Yes, there's a much higher level of things falling as items over here. That's exactly what it is. A huge depression and huge levels of things falling as items. You know, this might actually make an interesting start for a world. You start on these tiny little sandbars and more land opens up. Might not be a bad start. And yes, over here there's items and not displaced water. That might be what's going on here. Okay, so I did not include in-game info in this little debugging pack, so I can't actually test to make sure that things are working right. I can't give me a short summary screen of what's happening. Right now I am looking for a streams to see if things are working right with it. I need to test compatibility. I need to make sure that streams compatibility is working before I ship this. So let me see if I can find a streams. And why is this full going down? I need to find a streams for compatibility testing. Oh, right, fallen cobblestone. Harder underground makes cobblestone able to fall like sand, and that won't trigger a displacement. Alright. As I said, I need to find a streams and make sure it's working. Be back in a bit. So here's something really interesting. I've got a little bit of shrublands in with my mushroom island. And this is vanilla 1710 worldgen. I am guessing, and I don't know for certain. Do I have a beach here? Yeah. I am guessing that 1710 decided to put a deep ocean island, shrublands in this case, and it happened to be right next to a mushroom biome. So this is a beautiful start area. This is an absolutely beautiful start area. You've got a real biome for animals to spawn, a mushroom biome for things. You've got limonite visible, water going down. This would make a wonderful starting area. It's basically 0750. I'm going to be coming back here, I think. Redstone. Still looking for a streams. And before I forget, the seed that gives you this nice mushroom island plus regular trees and regular ground for your... Anyways, the seed where that beautiful start is located, and again, 0750 was its approximate location. That seed, in case you can't read it, is negative 155,143,493,717,462,4643. All right. So I am still trying to find a streams, and I think I have found something over here. Note the water hole that was being dug. And we just got a streams generated or identified, so let's head over there. 1119, 65, 1000, and let's see what the streams looks like. We have a stream's mouth over here. We've got streams flowing over here. So this should be interesting. We have falling falling sand possibly. Stream's water is coming down. There's some excess the realistic flowing water. And right now this is with 1/8 of a block absorption by the streams. So how does this look? What just happened on the debugging log? Microphone test? Microphone test? What just happened on the debugging log? It is going crazy. More to the point, I've got a debug spam that I need to eliminate before I publish. Yeah, the debugging span is all about the streams blocks that are not being overridden, which is exactly what should be happening, but it should not be spamming that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I have to get rid of that debug spam before I publish. Entity Harder Wildlife Goat. Draco, you didn't get your goats named. Okay, this is a problem. I'm looking at water 9s, not water stream. Here's water stream. So this is a very large flood. This is a very large flood. This is a much larger flood than I would have expected. Alright, let me pause the recorder and see if I can figure out what's going on. Okay, here's an overview of the streams. It's not even that large. You've got some stream heads up there, flows down here, curves around, and goes out. Then there's this tiny little branch over here, and this tiny little branch is flooding. So what the nether happened here? Look at this worldgen. What am I doing? It looks like a cave tunnel is right under the surface. And in some places it broke through the sand. But in other places, why is the sandstone looking like this? It's like when the cave or whatever went through here, there was some stone to be removed, and somehow some sandstone got placed. Ooh! Baby goat. So here's something interesting. I'm right at a chunk edge right now. If I back up one block, so now that chunk turns off, as it were. It hasn't eliminated it, but it's reduced it. If I go one more chunk away, maybe not. May have just been a coincidence. Yeah, false alarm. Alright, so I have turned the update range way down to only two chunks. I want to take a look around over here and see what's going on. Eyes at 63, feet at 62. So this is water draining down. Eyes at 63, feet at 62. This should have been full and it's gone down. So what's caused this water to go down? And why is this flow confused? There is no obvious hole that would have sunk water down out of there. Oh, hello. Looks like the depression was over here. Alright, so something down there. And I'm guessing, yeah, there's a cave entrance. So that sunk all of the water in the area when we had a large update range. And now that we don't have a large update range, it's no longer quite so obvious. So this is the area that is the flood test in question. That goes off, that stream eventually drains out everywhere. I have an update range of 2, so it should not, something over there is triggering an infinite flow, and I should not be triggering it over here. This is upstream of everything. So if I am upstream of everything and far enough away, we should be seeing water absorption by the streams blocks as the water on top of it gets thin. So this area should eventually become nice and clean when just streams. Let's sit here and wait for a bit. Here we go draining oceans today, oceans today, oceans today. Here we go draining oceans today, just watch the water flow. Here we go draining oceans today, oceans today, oceans today. Here we go draining oceans today, just watch the water flow. I really love the way Reasonable Realism plus flowing fluids just destroys things along the beaches. I feel like an evil laugh coming on. Wow. Huge, huge. Did my mic die? My mic died. There we go. Mic is better. So there's a huge flood of a huge dropping of sand down here. The dropping of sand came even before the water flooded in. This was a ravine. Ooh, look at that! Look at that! Rock dust as well. Beautiful. Huge falling of sand because huge falling of sand because blah 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 blah. Huge falling of sand because a ravine went underneath a desert. Later, water starts flowing into the open holes. Yeah, here's huge water flowing in, and that thing is flooding. Alright, so I'm just going to try to walk all of this water depression back towards that river. Back in a bit. Ooh, look at this deep, deep hole. I am down at 57 and just running into the water surface. Ooh, look at this deep, deep hole. Oop, missed. There we are. All right. So at the moment, we have over here, have my chunk lines visible. This looks like a classic case of a streams block edge line. Here's streams water. Here's regular water. The streams are set to eat any flowing fluid that is on top, that is up to 1/8 of a block. And it seems to have done it. Here's a little edging. At the edge, every so often a streams block will take a block tick, generate some regular water, which you see, which then flows down and heads into the ocean, but that's a small amount. 1 second. Alright, so as I was saying, we've got streams water over here. As I moved into another chunk, we see some flowing coming this way. But it's not a significant amount of flow, and again, the flow should get absorbed into this streams as it comes down. But if we are sitting here, we should see very little actually. Well, we're seeing a lot more than I thought would reach the edge. All right. The flood case is over there. Let's start heading that away. So as I'm sitting here watching this, I'm actually wondering if I have the absorption working properly for this stuff or not. It was supposed to absorb fluid on top of it if there was 1/8 of a block or so. And it looked like it was working because it could pour a bucket of water on these streams and it went away. But it's definitely not going away nearly as fast as I was expecting. As I'm seeing down, as I go downstream, lots of these things hanging around, dancing on the surface. And down here where you can see the chunk aligned step effect, huge amounts of this dancing on top and not being absorbed down. So no, I don't think I got it quite right, and I'm not sure why. It's definitely better than nothing, because I've seen what happens when a bucket of water was poured on these things before I did the change, but it's not working nearly as well as I was expecting it to. All right, so that is the chunk edging factor. And over here is the first apparent infinite flooding case. And I want to see what's going on. So as I head this way and activate some chunks, and that line should not flow. Correct. And all of this area should flow. This chunk is ticking, that chunk is not. If I move one chunk over, perfect. We have this section of streams flowing and that section of streams turned off. So let me see if I can figure out what's going on. All right, so this time actually testing for 1/8 of a block instead of 1/16 of a block. Let's see if things are going to absorb better. That's a small bump on top. And why is it not flowing at all? My guess is that it has lost track of what blocks needed updates when it was saved. So let's help it realize that it needs some block updates in this area. Oh, right, duh. Actually, that change from 1/16 to 1/8 of a block seems to have solved the problem. It's now no longer going crazy in this area. So let's check out this horrible overflooding zone. Yeah, it seems to be working. It seems to be clearing up. So the one thing I'm still trying to figure out is why this area is turning into an infinite flood. Well, the change has definitely worked. I don't have any idea why it's having this little I don't understand this unless those are actually unless this is actually a streams block. But even at that, that looks like a huge amount of water to come out of the streams all of a sudden. Well, that seems to have solved the infinite flooding. For whatever reason, I'm guessing these are streams blocks because they're certainly behaving like streams blocks, and there was an air block underneath it. That was probably from the sand collapsing in the from Reasonable Realism. And the water seems to be going down now. All right. All right, so yeah, that seems to be what caused it. A combination of sand falling from Reasonable Realism, putting air underneath the streams blocks, which caused excessive updates and water generation from streams. Entity, harder wildlife, goat name. All right. So after a little testing, the infinite flood has been found and solved. If you ever need water to be generated, simply dig some air underneath a stream. Air underneath a stream will cause the stream to generate huge amounts of water. Notice that as the water fell down over here, it's absorbed and doesn't continue on. For whatever reason, at 1/16th of a block, there was no effective absorption, but at 1/8 of a block, the runoff water is absorbing perfectly. We've still got a flood over here that is draining out. But once you get out to this area, it all just absorbs and goes away. The stream is behaving just the way it should. All right. So vanilla Minecraft was based on the assumption that water was infinite. Flowing fluids by itself makes water finite. Flowing fluids plus streams has the ability to make infinite generation. And under the normal case, it will be finite and bounded, and not. So this gives everything. Flowing water, the ability to have rivers that boats will behave on, provided you don't run into squids, of course. Finite water that can be used up, and the ability to generate more if you really need it. Now I don't know why the metadata, I'm guessing that this being low like this, microphone test, I'm guessing that this appearing low like this is a function of the metadata for the water being low, and Streams doesn't pay attention to the metadata. But I'm not sure who would... Oh, I bet I know what's setting the metadata down. Let me check something. Alright, so here we are. I should have the flaw that caused this metadata to drop should now be fixed. These little monitor lizards are kind of nasty, but we're not going to be concerned with it. Some water stuck on a ledge over here, draining down. To test this fix, we need to find a new pile of flowing lava. Plus, lava generates smoke. All right. Need to find a brand new streams. Oh, there we go. One just came up on the log. So the question here is, do we protect the metadata values of the streams so that their height is maintained, that they do not shrink and go down? That's what I'm testing now. Pausing while it generates. All right. So here we are, mouth of the new streams. We've got a depression draining down over here. We have our streams blocks over here. So far, everything looks good. Now let's see if we can find any examples of metadata issues. Ow, ow, ow. So here's a little question that any cat owner will fully understand. How much does my cat love me? This much! Yes. Ow, ow. So far it looks good. Underneath a stream's block, water generates with no limit. This was what was causing that flood in the last test world. So this has already flooded. Streams on both ends. Lovely. Microphone test. Microphone test. There we go. All right. Ow, ow. Well, two things that I'm noticing. One, I'm not seeing the Oh look, it's not flooding. I'm not seeing any changes to the metadata of the streams, and I'm not seeing the warning message that it was preventing metadata change to a streams block. So the problem that was destroying the stream metadata may have been caused by the flooding effect. Then again, streams, and poof. Metadata drops, and the height goes down. And my metadata protection warning did not go off. So A, it is still happening, and B, this is so flat there should not have been any water, anything happening here at all. But it's definitely still happening. Fets. Alright, we have 95 to 98% perfection. We are definitely still getting lava water generating obsidian and cobblestone, and that's actually important because I'm pretty sure that I just did a super call on that so that the super blocks, the vanilla code, is handling the water interaction. It's not trying to code its own water interaction anymore. Sorry, water-lava interaction. That should be superclassed to the vanilla code now. I don't know what's going on with the metadata. I don't know why this hasn't dried out. This is generating a whole lot more than I was expecting. Probably because of that being an air block. So if I'm correct, I put that there. That should make this part stable. It's no longer generating huge amounts of water. That's now starting to flow. Okay. Or not. This should now drain down to the normal level. I bet if I can get into that little hole in the ground, it will pick it up and it will go away. Yes. And this is now... Alright, so it is definitely air blocks underneath the streams blocks that causes the flood. So that's good. If you need infinite water for one of Rika's machines, that's how you do it. Oh. Aha. Look at all this area. All of this draining down. Alright, so streams blocks acting as infinite sources when there is air underneath them might actually be a factor, because that's what's happening here. Normally, streams will not permit caves underneath them. They put basically some protective blocks to make sure that it generates a stone layer underneath. Reasonable Realism will have stone fall, and it's that combination that can make things go flood. But it seems to be happy. I'm getting no messages at all about cannot keep up, and I have a 20 chunk, or maybe not 20, but at least 10 chunks of update radius. I thought it was 20, but whatever it is, it's clearly not having issues. And whatever else is going on, it's not just air underneath, because I've got air underneath and it's not causing any flooding. Yeah, there goes everything that I thought I knew about what was going on. Because if this flooding was being caused by what I thought was causing it, that should have triggered infinite flooding. It did not. So no, I don't know why it does in some areas and not others. But it's definitely caused by air underneath streams and something else. I just don't know what that second part is yet. But we've got streams, finite flowing water, infinite water if you need it. Okay. No debug spam, and the sad thing is I was expecting to see some debug spam. I don't know why it's destroying the metadata of these blocks. Alright, this is going to be Alpha 3. AKA, it works, it works, it works! Now, let's see how much we can flood. All of this flowing down. Oh wow, that absorbed very quickly. Very quickly. This is a regular river, and I'm just looking at water going into a... Never mind. Where's the streams? Here's the streams. Let's try that again. All right. Yeah. At 1/16 of a block, it never absorbed. At 1/8 of a block, it may be absorbing too quickly, but it does work. All right. Excuse me a second. So the only remaining bug is that the metadata is getting destroyed, and I don't know why. Let's try one more river and see if it'll work better. Maybe this river was already destroyed before I got here.